perspective?
Well, today is a very important day, as you all know, in the history of this world. A world which is almost now 1863, 2024, roughly around 150 years and more. We understand that today is a day before 9/11, that's the American 9/11, that's the Osama bin 9/11, there was an incident which shook the world I think, in a much more sonorous, in a much more delightful, in much more, very important socio-economic, political thought uprising. I will show you this book. This is a book which tells you about that Chicago Convention, the address, the World Parliament of Religions. This book was published by Advaita Ashram in 1993. So exactly a century, 100 years after his speech. Very few people are aware of the fact that there is no one speech or a particular day that is celebrated worldwide to commemorate such an event. And this was Swami Vivekananda's famous speech delivered on 11th of September in American way, 9/11, 1893 in Chicago, to the delegates of the World Parliament of Religions. He gave a call for universal brotherhood, stating that a man on this earth has continued too long to be fanatic about insisting that his religion alone was true and the other religions being false had no right to exist. The way political parties behave these days. In fact, as such, the 11th of September is marked also as a Universal Brotherhood Day, and the day is celebrated every year to commemorate Swamiji's famous speech. The popularly remembered like with the opening words, sisters and brothers of America. Now, the speech helped introduce India to the West, number one, and put India and Sanatana Dharma on the global map. The Universal Brotherhood aims to establish truth, peace, and tolerance. It also recognizes that every religion, philosophy, culture, and all other paths around the world, that lead to the same point, and the destination is truth. The entire assembly in that Congress, gave him an extended standing ovation just after hearing those opening words. The concussion of the speech was instant and more unique. The one uniqueness of the speech was that it was a very short speech of merely 500 words only, and it ideologically was based on the ideas of toleration. So his idea of toleration was a solution that to the discords between nations, religions, and culture on one hand, and discord in families and smaller groups on the other. So let us celebrate on the glorious honor of this man, the cyclonic monk from India, who went overseas, brought for all of us, and let us praise his ideals through a non-violent protest that is happening now in Shastra Bhavan against the criminal politics and the unbearable governance that we are going through and treading along, and plead, if not demand, for the duly desired justice. I will have a short quiz, 2-3 questions commemorating the very famous event. My first slide I would like to share here is this. Is it already visible to the common man? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first slide. Being a spiritual, great spiritual and a socio-cultural reformist, Swamiji turned a deaf ear to Hindu Brahmins' opposition to this. What is this? This is tea. He loved his tea, and he wanted to promote the idea of tea. And, when this was being done, consequently, a heavy tax was levied on the drinking of tea. Even the monks of Belur Monastery were not exempted to this. The local municipality at Bali hiked the tax imposed on the Belur Mott, where the municipality claimed that there was a private garden house for serving tea, to Swamiji and all his friends and colleagues. Swamiji definitely objected to, such an unjust levy of taxes. He protested, and the tax was reduced. So in this time, when the contemporary events are quite alike the same of what had happened, so many years back, and here the issue is tea. The question is, Swamiji had a group of friends, and among them, one was a very, very important luminary in the field of Indian politics, nationalism, fight, politics, obviously not a Bengali friend, and who used to love his, masla chai kind of tea, cardamom. He used to get his own cardamom, cinnamon, and all that stuff. He used to crush that and put in his tea. Who was he? My question is, who was he? We'll count 5. Tick, 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 tick. And I'll go with the answer. I'm sure a lot of you knew about who he was, but I will give you the answer. How do you move the slide? Sorry. So this is the answer. Among those who used to drink tea in Swamiji's company were a few freedom fighters, including Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Vivekananda convinced Bal Gangadhar Tilak, the great freedom fighter, to make tea at Belur. He got his nutmeg, mace, cardamom, cloves, and saffron, with which he prepared a Mughal tea for all. So this was the first question. The second question is, now this, sorry. So this is I mean, we're giving out actually the answer by we're not being able to press the buttons here on the laptop well enough. This lady, a virtuoso, in her merits, she was a brilliant performer. The world knew her as one of the best danseuses in her times. She was a French operatic dramatic soprano, a performer of merit. She said in her autobiography, he, that means Swamiji, truly walked with God, a noble being, a saint, a philosopher, and a true friend. His influence upon my spiritual life was profound. My soul will bear him eternal guidance. Now, question is, who can tell me who she is? I'm waiting for the answer. And though my girl had already given the answer, by pressing fast, I may be the wrong buttons. Here she is, the culprit. I'll drag her here. So the answer, I want to know the name of that lady. I'll give you a brief. When in Chicago, this lady, her only daughter died in a fire accident. Now, this tragic event had a serious mental toll on her. And it was during this period of intense, grief and that what do we call it, the PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder state. She was obviously mentally ruined, and she met Swamiji. And as luck would have it, that prevented her from committing suicide and restored her back to, kind of that formal, cheerful form that she was believed to be known by the world. This lady had accompanied Swamiji as a kind of a core partner, a good friend, along with Miss Josephine MacLeod and Sir Francis Hule Boy and his wife and Sarah Barnard, while they traveled through Europe and Egypt from 1899 to 1901. So who is or was she? Anyone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's come to the answer. This lady was actually, as I said, she's Emma Cavey. Emma Cavey, even she wrote in her autobiography that he truly walked with God. So Swamiji obviously used to walk with, Thakur all around him, Thakur Ma as well. So they are godly people. A noble being himself, a saint, a philosopher, and a true friend. His influence upon my spiritual life was profound. And of course, she was saved, and there was eternal gratitude. This lady, to whom Swamiji also asked, in 1901, Swamiji said to her that I want to go back to India to die and want to be with my brothers, during the end. Deeply moved by these words, Emma Cave made this return to India possible, certain. She paid the price of the sea fare, got the tickets back home, and it was done with full heart. And then we know that she came later to visit Belur Math, Swamiji, as Swamiji's tribute on Machavita Day. Let the world see how beautiful she was, how divine she was. And this was when she came to Belur Math. She paid tribute to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. She said of this visit and her, association with these monks there, that the hours that I had spent with these gentle philosophers have remained in my memory as a time apart. These beings, pure, beautiful, and remote, seem to belong to another universe, a better and a wiser world. So we live in Calcutta. We live in, almost 10 kilometers proximity now, where we are doing our silent protest in Shastra Bhavan. And I believe people should again revisit, recapitulate what had happened, just about a century and a half back. My next question. Yes, this is a very simple question, I believe. This book was a compilation of Bengali songs. It also discussed various aspects of vocal and instrumental music. The book was divided into different sections, and the songs were arranged by theme, like Rabindranath Puja, Prem, Prakriti. This had themes. The first section, of course, included patriotic songs. In those days, obviously very relevant. The book included 12 Rabindra Sangits, out of which I think 2-3 were directly taught to our Swamiji by, again, our Gurudev. It contained around 90-page long introduction, which discussed the theory of music, and 18-page long biographical notes and sketches on Bengali songwriters and poets such as Chandidas, Vidyapati, Ramprasad. So the author of the book, naturally, at the age of 20, and Naren Datta, at the age of 20, he compiled this Bengali language song anthology, and he had a name for this book. I want the name of the book, and that's it. A very simple question, name of the book. This was actually, this whole idea came to Naren Swamiji from Sri Vaishnav Charan Boshak. This book was first published in August-September 1887 from Arjya Pustakalaya, in those days in Chitpur, Calcutta. And in the preface of the book, Swamiji thanked Saurendra Mohan Thakur, the leading educationist, musicologist of those days, and a patron of Indian music, per se, who played a leading role in spreading music education among common people, which actually revealed Swamiji's deep knowledge in music and awareness of this social responsibility to musically make people aware and patriotic. The name of the book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sure most of you have got the answer. The book is called Sangit Kalpataru. So thank you, everyone, for bearing through these 3 questions. We have many more questions to come. We can all sit together. You can also make your comments on the Facebook or YouTube, wherever it will float, and let us know. We will set a date for a quiz, a big mega quiz. We'll have good prices. The prices will be health checkups in our Meta clinic. And we are waiting. Thank you. Thank you. Bless us all.